welcome to our little miniature lesson here during quarantine.
Quarantine Balboa!
So if it seems sort of unusual that we're dancing in front of a wall or in a very confined space, it's because we are coming to you live from our home.
Welcome home.
So what we're going to do today is some moves and some variations based on the throw out or the toss out in Balboa. This is going to be kind of an intermediate plus level thing.
And we're going to touch on some of the techniques and movements and physics that we use to have comfortable throwouts for both the leads and the follows, and it will apply to all types of throwouts because, as you probably know, there are many different ways to do a throwout.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start off just kind of reviewing the basic throwout just very, very briefly to talk about some of those core things that we're going to be using in the variations. So we're going to start off with a basic. We'll do a come around to get into a regular throwout with a free spin. We'll go back to a come around and back to a basic. Starting with that basic, we go
5, 6, 5, 6, 7, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
come around,
and a 1, 2, 3, 4,
throw
5,
out,
6, 7,
free spin,
and a 1, 2,
come around,
5, 6, 7,
back to a basic.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So a lot of things just happened right there.
Yeah. Leaders, for me, some of the prime things that I'm always trying to utilize when I'm doing a basic throwout, once I start setting up that rotation during the come around, I'm trying to keep that level of momentum, that feeling of momentum as consistent as possible through the entire rest of the movement. So I want it to feel like one continuous flowing motion from the initial setup all the way through the stretch of the throwout, back into that come around where we come back together until we go back into that basic.
Followers, I also want to be maintaining my sense of flow. I want to make sure that I'm maintaining the rotation, which is my half of the physics. Peter has beautifully set up rotation in the come around, and it's my job as the follow to maintain that rotation through the throwout as opposed to kind of stepping laterally and fighting the initial physics. I want to make sure that I'm stepping, I'm pivoting, and then as I'm released, I'm still continuing that rotation until we come back together.
Leaders, again, I'm trying to make sure as I back away from the follower to set up that distance in the throwout, trying to keep the hand low, get a nice comfortable stretch through this side of my frame, and then release that, collect my follower as comfortably as possible back in. So one more time from the top, starting with that basic, we go
5, 6, 5, 6, 7, and a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and
come around,
2, 3,
throw out,
5, 6, 7,
back into a come around,
5, 6, 7,
back to a basic.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We're going to take those core concepts,
Stretching away, maintaining momentum, maintaining rotation.
and we're going to turn it into a variation that we call a wrong-handed throwout. Doesn't really have an official name because it's swing dancing, right? So you'll hear it called different things in different places. But for us, the main difference is that instead of creating the stretch through this side of the frame, which is like my left arm and hand,
right,
and doing that sort of a stretch, we're instead going to use this side of the frame. So it's going to be my right,
and my left.
but everything else is staying the same. We're still keeping the same sense of timing. We're still using come arounds to set it up and finish it off.
Peter's still stretching away, and I'm still trying to continue rotation to do my half of the stretch.
She's even still rotating the same direction. She's still rotating clockwise as we get to that stretch.
Just using a different hand to get there.
We're going to set it up exactly the same way. We'll go through it once and then we'll talk a little bit. So starting with that basic again.
And 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, and a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6,
Regular come
7,
around.
and a 1, 2, 3.
Wrong-handed throw out.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
We'll do it again from here.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6,
Come
7,
around.
and a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6,
Wrong
7,
hand.
and a 1, 2, 3,
Back in.
5, 6, 7.
So one of the main things that is making this work is one of the main elements that we put into our normal throwout. When Peter and I do a normal throwout, we make sure that we are looking at each other
1, 2,
as often as possible.
5, 6, 7.
Still looking at each other. And then as I'm released from the turn, I'm looking through my turn until I can find Peter again. Not spotting, but just continuing to look where I'm going until I find my partner.
Followers, that's super helpful.
It's the best bit of turning technique, advice, help, love I can give you. And I'm still going to do that on this throwout. As we're separating, we're making sure we can see each other. If we don't, we kind of tend to over-rotate and we can really hurt ourselves, and the stretch isn't really that comfortable.
So we keep it stretched here. And then again, leaders, just like before, I'm just going to release that stretch because the follower is moving into the same arm that we were just stretching with, there's really little to no disconnection during this. It's technically a free spin, but we basically stay touching the whole time. So from that 7, 8, 1, 2, 3. So it's very, very similar to what we just did.
So,
one more time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1,
Come around.
5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
One of the other things that Lauren tends to do to make this look so nice and continue the connection so beautifully is that as I start to release the stretch, she actually rolls into this arm. It almost folds across her like so. So again, that really helps us to maintain connection.
8, 1, 2, 3. I don't really do like the chipmunk arm, but I am allowing my frame to just kind of relax inward to make it so that we can turn quickly near each other without hitting each other.
And just a quick note for the leads on that. I am not trying to make that happen by holding onto her hand and causing her to roll in. I have released that hand.
8.
I'm not holding on at all. She just allows herself to come into that frame. So just wanted to make that clear.
So, some fun ways to play with this movement.
So we have a riff ending that kind of takes one section of it and sort of does what we call a rhythm stutter.
Yeah, and it's a rhythm stutter kind of with lolly-esque movements happening.
Yeah.
So, followers, remember how I'm rotating on the spot into that 7?
8.
And then 8, I would release into a turn. Well, what if we put up a wall here and kind of looped it for a little bit?
So it's going to go 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. So leaders, what I'm doing to make sure that this is comfortable and clear is, again, from that stretch, I'm putting some structure into my frame so the follower feels something to bounce off of.
And followers, this feels very similar to what I feel in lollies, where I'm feeling that inward compression and I'm going to respond with inward compression, so we build up and then I can release into a stretch. I'm feeling a very similar sensation here.
So we've got that stretch
away,
compression,
compress.
kind of a block, and then as she starts to bounce away again, if you will, I'm going to create more structure in the frame. So then again, she's got that same quality of stretch as she would on the normal 7, 8.
And followers, I want to really make sure as I'm doing this that I'm still maintaining my sense of rotation and not just turning it into a nightclub 2-step kind of thing, but that I want to make sure that I am pivoting, 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 pivoting the whole time until I'm eventually released.
Leaders, there isn't really a correct amount of times you can do this, but maybe don't aim for 20.
Yeah, don't maybe start it in the middle of a song and try to finish the song just doing that.
No, might be a bit excessive.
The point is, leaders, that after one of the away stretches, don't block.
1, 2, 3.
And it turns into the same wrong-handed throw-out finish as we've been doing before.
I just feel a relaxation in his frame, so I respond in kind.
From the top, we got a basic.
5, 6, a 5, 6, 7, and a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
Come around.
And a 1, 2, 3.
Wrong-handed throw-out. 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3,
5, 6, 7.
So you can see all of those elements coming into play there.
And followers, you can see how it's truly led and followed. In that moment, I went, cool, I'm going to be released. No, apparently I'm not. And I could feel that compression before I got there. So leaders, make sure that as your partner's stretching away, as soon as that stretch is released, you're already trying to create something I can compress into. If you wait until I step, if you wait until I'm already there, it'll be too late and it will hurt your wrist and mine.
It feels very jerky at that point.
It does. So we can, again, loop it as many times as we want.
But we have one more variation that we want to take you through, which is to take where we've built through so far and put a different ending on that.
Yep, so we're gonna have a little bit of that rhythm stutter into a turn, into a rhythm stutter, into the collect.
So we'll show it, we'll show it first and then we'll talk it through. We got the basic on top.
5, 6, a 5, 6, 7, and a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7, 8, block, and 7, 8, block, and 7, 8, block, block, block. 7, 8, 1, 2, 3,
5, 6, 7.
So again, for the leaders anyway, what I'm doing is I'm getting that same setup that we did before, stretching,
7, 8,
blocking,
5, 6,
stretching,
7.
and then instead of blocking, I'm just going to let the hand come up. I'm not cranking this turn at all. I'm allowing her rotation to continue, and I'm keeping the arm out of the way. So from that 7, 8, walk, walk, and then I'm blocking because again, she's still got that inward rotation coming. So now we're back to the same rhythm stutter. We just did an underarm turn to get here. So this is.
So I'm still going to collect here and rotate.
And then
collect
7,
and
8,
rotate.
block, and 7, 8, 1, 2.
When we showed the full thing, we did 3. For this right now, we're just going to do 2 little collections.
Yeah.
Followers, there's a lot of ways that we can hurt ourselves in this movement. I want to make sure that as I'm stretching away, I'm maintaining a sense of connection from my fingertips all the way through to my other arm, that there's this sense of stretch all the way through my body, and that as I'm compressing, that I'm feeling that connection again all the way through my body. I'm not tense like the Hulk, but I am maintaining everything together so that as I'm stretching, compressing, stretching, when I feel that release, I'm allowing my arm to come up and I'm looking kind of through this space. If you've had a class with this before, we call it the window. I want to make sure I'm looking through this window the whole time until I see Peter again. That's going to keep me not only balanced, but keep me from tearing my shoulder.
One quick note, because we've done an underarm turn, we've changed the hand position now. So my hand is now on top and I'm kind of on the outside.
And now I'm leading.
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
We've changed the hand position, but it hasn't changed anything else about the mechanics or the sense of frame.
Yeah.
So we're still able to block and stretch and all that. So one more time from the top. Looks like this.
5, 6, a 5, 6, 7.
Basic
1,
first.
2, 3, 5, 6.
Come around.
1, 2, 3.
Wrong-handed throw out.
5, 6, 7.
And we block
5,
and
6,
stretch,
7,
block
5,
and
6,
stretch,
7,
and a 1, 2, block and stretch, and a 1, 2, 3,
5, 6, 7.
So we've gone over kind of the basics of a classic throw out with a free spin ending. And then we did a wrong-handed throw out.
And hopefully this is going to inspire you to play a little bit, because having these rhythm stutters, you can add as many or as few as you want. If you wanted to do 2 underarm turns there, you could, and then go into some more rhythm stutters. They're kind of a nice bookend to have around those turns. If you just had the turns, it might feel a little jarring.
Yeah. So basically it becomes a choose your own adventure at that point. You've got the rhythm stutter blocks, that lolly kick kind of feel, and then we have the rhythm stutter underarm turn, and then continuing the rhythm stutter on the other side. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this.
Yep, so keep practicing, keep dancing in small amounts of people. Wash your hands, and we hope to dance with you soon.
Love you guys. See you soon.
Bye guys.